Hello everyone, this is Ravi Raji and it's my first tutorial where I will share some basic concepts of real number. My strategy is that I will prepare videos for all CBSE class 10 mathematics chapters, and my chapters will be divided in two parts. In part 1 we will discuss some concepts, and part 2 we will go for some exercise. So let's start with the part 1, real numbers. Before starting real numbers, I assume that you have studied all the whole numbers, integers, prime numbers and composite number in your previous classes. So assuming that you are well aware of those numbers idea, we will directly start with the real numbers. So let's see what is real number. Real number is any number which can be represented on number line. Simple concept. It is divided into two parts. Part 1 is rational number and another part is irrational. So there are two parts of real number, rational and irrational number. So let's discuss what is rational number and what is irrational number one by one. Rational number. This is a number which can be represented in terms of P by Q, where Q is not 0. It means that rational numbers can be defined in terms of numerator and denominator, where denominator is not 0, while irrational is just opposite of that. It cannot be defined in terms of P by Q. So for example, root 2, root 5, pi, all these numbers are irrational numbers. We will discuss more about it. Okay. So in rational number, there are some theorems, some algorithms which we will discuss one by one. So before going to theorem or lemma which I am going to use for Euclid's division algorithm, let's understand what is the difference between two. So the algorithm is something which is a well-defined steps, and these steps create a procedure which you will use to solve a type of problem, while lemma is something which is a proven statement and is used to prove another statement. So the first theorem is Euclid's division lemma. Euclid's division lemma. So what is this lemma about? Let's consider there are two numbers, two positive integers a and b, and there is unique numbers q and r. So these numbers are defined in such a way that a is equal to bq plus r, where r is less than b and greater than equal to 0. So this r is between 0 and b. You have studied in your earlier classes in terms of dividend is equal to divisor multiply quotient plus remainder. So this is the same thing. So where this Euclid's division lemma is used, this is used to find out the HCM of two positive numbers. For example, let's see there are two numbers C and D, and we need to find the HCF of these two numbers. How we will do that? See, we can, and one condition is C is greater than D. So here we can define C is equal to DQ plus R. Again, where R is less than D and greater than equal to 0. So we will use Euclid's algorithm. It means we will define it into several steps, and the step where we will get the remainder 0, the value of D for which R is 0 is known as HCF of the two number. For example, let's see there are two number. Okay, let me take two numbers. Let me erase this one. To identify HCF, we have to identify the HCF of 455 and 42. Okay. Using Euclid's division lemma. Okay. How we will do that? See, 455 is greater than 42. So we can write 445 is equal to 42 multiplied 10, and the remainder is 35. See, here remainder is not 0. So we have repeat the same process. Now we have two numbers 42 and 35. So we can define 42 is equal to 35 multiply 1 plus 7. Again remainder is not 0. So what we will do? We'll move ahead. 35 is equal to 7 multiplied 5 plus 0. See, here we got the remainder r is equal to 0. It means the value 7 for which we get remainder 0. So here HCF is 7. So this way we can find out the HCF of two number using Euclid's division lemma. Another theorem is fundamental theorem of arithmetic. So to be clear, Euclid's formula is for division, and the another one is fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Okay, fundamental theorem of arithmetic. So this fundamental theorem of arithmetic is related to multiplication, while the previous one was related to division. So how this theorem is defined? This is defined as if there is some composite number, in that case that composite number is factorized in terms of prime numbers. For example, it says that if A is a composite number, then this A is a product of P1, P2 up to Pn, where P is a prime number. So this theorem clearly says that any composite number is finally a product of this prime number. Okay. Okay. So A is equal to P1, P2 up to Pn, where P is a prime number. In Euclid division lemma, we have used HCF of two numbers. So here fundamental theorem of arithmetic, we will use it to identify the LCF of two numbers. How we can do this? Let's see, there are two numbers 6 and 20. So with these two numbers, we can use this fundamental theorem of arithmetic to identify the HCF and LCF both for these two numbers. Let's see. 6, we can make a product of 2 and 3. These two are prime number. And for 20, how we can write this? 2 into 2 into 5. So it's a product of two prime numbers, 2 and 5. Now, what will be the LCM? So the LCM will be, see the common of these two, 2 multiplies 2 multiplied 3 multiplied 5 is equal to 60. And HCF, identify the common. So this is the common. So the HCF is 2. So we have seen that using fundamental theorem of arithmetic, we can identify the LCM and HCF of both of any two numbers. So here what we can see? We can see that LCM multiplied HCF is product of the two numbers which we have used to find out the LCM HCF. So LCF and HCF, product of these two is same as the product of these two numbers. Okay, so hope up to here we are clear. Now we will move ahead and we will discuss about irrational number. So let me erase this one. Okay, so irrational number. As discussed, irrational number is something which cannot be defined in terms of p by q, where q is not equal to 0. So root 2, root 5, all these are irrational number. So we will prove how root 2 is irrational number. I just told that root 2 is irrational number, but we need to prove that it cannot be defined in terms of p by q. But before proving this, we need to prove one more theorem, and that theorem says that if p divides, p is an integer, p is a prime number, and this prime number if divides a square, then p divides a. Clear? So if p divides a square, then p divides a. P is a prime number. So let's prove this. So once we will prove this, we can use this theorem to prove root 2 is an irrational number. So let's prove this. Let's see a is equal to p1, p2 up to pn. Let's assume a is any number which is a product of these prime numbers. Then a square can be written as p1 square, p2 square up to pn square. Up to here clear? So we can see. Now it says in theorem that p divides a squares. It means this a square is divided by p. That clearly identifies that this p is member of one of these p1, p2 up to pn. It means that p is somewhere here. That's why it's dividing a square. And since it's dividing a square, means p is the one of the portion of this area. And hence we can say that p divides a because p is here, somewhere here. Okay. So now we are clear that if p divides a square, then p divides a. Let's use this concept to prove root 2 is an irrational number. How we will do this? Okay. So for that, let's assume root 2 is a rational number. Root 2 is a rational number. This is not true, but to prove root 2 is irrational, we will use the method of contradiction. We will assume that root 2 is a rational number. It means root 2 can be written as r divide s, where s is not equal to 0. Okay. Now let's see, apart from the common factor 1, there are another common factor for r and s, for which we get another a by b. When we divide the common factor of r and s, we get a by b. So we can say root 2 is equal to a by b, where b is not equal to 0. Clear? Now let's square both sides. We can write this in like this: root 2b is equal to a. We can write this 2b square is equal to a square. See here, let's give point 1. 2b square a square. It means 2 divides a. It's clear? Here we can say 2 divides a. Now, since 2 divides a, so therefore we can write a is equal to 2c. See, this 2 divides a, because we have seen 2b square is equal to a square, therefore 2 divides a. So this can also be written. So this a is equal to 2c, this value we can use here. Okay, so let's use root 2b is equal to C. Now 2b squared is equal to 4c squared. B squared is equal to 2c squared. Here again you can see that this b square is divided by 2. Means 2 divides b square. Let's see this and the second equation. 2 divides b square. And just now we have learned that if p divides a square, then p divides a. It means if 2 divides b square, then 2 divides b. So see here, equation 1, 2 divides a. Okay, we are using this theorem. Since 2 divides a square, therefore 2 divides a. Here 2 divides b. But what we have assumed, that root 2 is a by b, and a and b both are co-prime. But here this is not the case. Since a and b both are divided by 2, it means that a and b are not co-prime. Okay, and therefore our assumption was wrong, and hence we can say that root 2 is an irrational number, because we have contradicted our statement. Okay, so this way we can prove root 5, root 3, all the irrational number as an irrational number. We can also say that if we add rational number and irrational number, then the result will be irrational number. If we multiply rational number and irrational number, then the result will be irrational number. We will do exercise in our next video, but let's here stick to the concept. Okay, now next we will discuss about the decimal expression. Let me erase them. Okay, so next will be decimal expression. In decimal expression, what we will learn, that when any decimal value will terminate or when it will not terminate. So for that also there is theorem, and this theorem says that if any number is represented in the form of p by q, where q is not 0, and if q is represented in terms of 2 power n, 5 power m, where n and m is not negative. N and m is not negative. If this formula follows, like if p by q and if q can be represented in terms of 2 power n, 5 power m, then their decimal value will terminate at some point. But in case if it not follow this formula, then their decimal value will not terminate and it will be recurring. Just see an example. Let's say example 3 by 8. So we can write 3 by 8 as 3 by 2 power 3. Just multiply 5 by 3, numerator and denominator. So see, this is in terms of 2 power n, 5 power m. So for this 3 by 8, we can get decimal value which can terminate. And if we will take another example, 1 by 7, this is not in the form of 2 power n, 5 power m. So when we will divide 1 by 7, we will get recurring number in decimal. So this decimal value will never terminate. So this is the theorem which we will use for the decimal expression. Okay, so that's all for part 1 of real number, which we discussed. Hope you like this video. I will share another video where we will discuss about the exercises related to real number. So for the exercise of real number, please visit my second video, which will be the part 2 of real number. Thank you everyone. Please subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you once again.